houses, and he's going to build cheap stuff. Or, a guy that comes in and he builds 12 houses a year, he might upgrade a little bit. Or depending on the part of town, it might be more marketable to use a different kind of material.
Right. But that's what I mean by predict. It's a high probability is
right.
High probability is if we can get the high probability questions down.
Yes.
Right.
That's a success.
Because
then and to know, like what you just said, what factors would knock the probability out. So high probability that they would have used this, unless it was a top market area at the time, maybe they would have used this. Like in Ireland, if I'm talking to somebody when we would buy houses there, and have you ever replaced the plumbing? The answer is no. It needs to be replaced. Like I don't know.
Those houses were built in the 50s.
Yeah.
It's
like whether they're having plumbing problems today or not. Like we need to factor in replacing the plumbing.
And they have certain kind of drain pipes coming out of the house, which deteriorate over time.
But the acquisition agent will know that before they go out there if it was a house built during the 50s.
If we get the information and tell them.
Right.
Yes.
Because that should come from, looking at the house on Google when you were built, right?
Yes,
kind of
but
it's all lead intake stuff.
But there's certain conditions. So like in Meyerland, because of the price point of the homes and the population that lived there, and that the neighborhood was developed to be a nice neighborhood to begin with, like there was a much stronger likelihood that when we were talking to somebody, I don't know if I replaced the plumbing, but I know that they had to do west out here, and they did all new foundation and the roof, and I'm like, well, they probably replaced the plumbing too. There's a high probability that they've taken care of other things. But if I'm talking to someone in Meyerland who, I don't know, if they got the 19 cats and they never did any foundation work, and they're telling me it bends to the left,
chances are
there is no they have not done the plumbing.
Right.
And so I want to capture,
that type of probability.
I want to capture the scenarios, or the question sets, or the dependency. They're dependencies.
Yeah, they are.
And so, I know that smell has a big impact, because not only are we going to need to do it, again, it's back to what else can that seller do. The seller's not going to sell that home. Even if they take it to the open market, they're still going to sell it to an investor. So part of my, sales offering there is that, whether you do this here or hire a realtor, you're going to get the same buyer. It's just going to be 6% less in your pocket. So, smell. I like the smell. Smells are good for us because, it could be, the home is a newer home. Mom bought it, moved into it with her 19 cats, and then died 2 years later, but it was new when she bought it. Well, still can't sell it as is, but it's not going to take very much to fix it, but to the average consumer, it would be a huge offense.
It falls into the bucket of investors.
Exactly.
We have a prime property here.
Yes,
you're going to have to rip out the textiles, you're going to have to put mop and glow all over the property to seal everything in. You're going to have to use those enzymes.
Yeah.
It's a doable deal, and an experienced investor will know that.
Right, and they will know that, and we will. But the seller will still have the same feeling about it as if the roof had caved in, like when she's walking into her mom's house, But there's not the same mold in the walls, and
Yeah, you're walking through, and you're making your assessment, and you're trying to negotiate the deal. And every once in a while, you don't say anything.
Exactly. So, but those things like that have more of an impact on options, and then stuff in the house, occupancy and stuff has an impact on their options. Tenants living in the home, wall-to-wall boxes and stuff, just not going to show well, not going to get realtors excited to sell it.
Has there ever been a fire in the house?
Right.
A kitchen fire or anything?
Right. So if you're waiting for this guy's going to...
What you need to help organize the...
Well, it wouldn't hurt having this.
Okay.
Questions, yes.
Yeah.
They're very desirable, that list of questions.
Yeah.
Well, I just made it not so long ago, though, so...
No, that's the go-by, that's the basic, that's the primitive.
Well, because I'm also trying to keep it simple enough to where, we are not keeping people on the phone for 30 minutes.
Well, and this isn't for interviewing person, whether by phone or in person. This is the result of what the acquisition agent saw and is reporting back.
And we need to tell them what to look for in order to answer these questions.
Correct. Right.
There you go.
So it would be helpful to have that, just so that we make sure we can. And one of the hardest things is phrasing questions correctly, so that you're not going to insult somebody.
Exactly.
That's why we don't have blue bathrooms and yellow kitchens.
Right.
You want to appeal to a wider market.
Yeah,
Exactly.
true.
We don't want to give anybody a reason not to buy from us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the one thing, and part of developing these internal processes and procedures and checklists. So, like, if this guy creating this virtual assistant, it's going to take several months to do that. We can create a checklist from this for the acquisition agents to use to make sure they get down that information.
Right, but with this overarching management, it kind of compels homogeneity.
Right.
We're asking the same questions. We're looking for the same objective. We're trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to be simple and straightforward.
Yes.
And we're all trying to make it easy for them to sell.
Right.
To Big State.
And to do their
easy
job.
to buy from Big State.
Yeah.
Because this is not a hobby.
No. That's right.
So it may seem like a punishment some days, I know.
Well, but if I can make it easier for them to navigate their way through it,
Exactly.
I'm a lot more likely to get what I need out
And
of
be
it.
successful at what they're doing.
Real hard to get what I need out of them sometimes.
I bet.
Let's see. Question. I'm trying to find the original email, but I guess I can just. So, I guess back to how do you see breaking down this whole process? I want need the questions themselves, need the dependency variables, need the what you ask when, what indicates when that's the dependency stuff.
Yeah, what you ask when, and the dependency things, and
the list of like the time. How time has influenced building in general. People used to build this way. If it's year built this, it's likely to. Yeah, it's worth asking these questions.
Things that you are likely to see, like if the house is built before this time period, what are some things that you need to check for? Some red flags around that. If it was built,
aluminum wiring is one of them.
Yeah, it could be asbestos.
Asbestos.
Yeah, and is that going to be a problem or not a problem?
Right.
Is asbestos a problem for you?
It depends. If you cut it, grind it, turn it into a particulate matter so somebody can inhale it,
that's a problem.
And then you open yourself up to two lung diseases.
Right. Yeah.
Asbestosis and mesothelioma.
Well, I remember I've learned a lot of these lessons after I already bought the house.
Oh, yeah.
So I own this house, and they're like, well, there's an asbestos, this, that, and the other. You have to have it. I'm like, what?
Oh, guys in spacesuits and take it off to the landfill where they put nuclear waste.
Yeah, I have that. And I've had the same with the aluminum wiring. I'm like, what's aluminum wiring? And they're like, well, that's what's this house is full of. You're going to have to take it out. Like, how could I have known that?
I think the other one's flooded, mold remediation.
There's some things like property type would be a filter too. Like condos or properties that are adjoined are more likely to have, or if you have foundation problems and you're in a townhome unit where you share walls, is that fixable?
No, that goes through the problem.
That has to go
as you know, and they are not. They're not
eager.
They're not eager to do any of that.
No, they're not.
Because if you adjust this one, then the ones on either side of it will also be wiggled around.
So property type will have some impact. Foundation type would probably have an impact on certain questions.
Right.
As in addition to year built.
If it was built before 1945 or 46, there's a high probability it's a pier and beam.
That's why it kind of, and maybe we need to redefine. This is part of what I was trying to do here is to put some criteria about
how do we break it all up?
Break up property condition, like what are some certain things that would be flagged. So maybe we make this more granular. Is it less than 10 years? How about is it 10 to 20 years? Is it over 30 years? What would be the buckets of things that
maybe you do it the other way, which is like, is it built between this time frame? Is it built between this time frame? Is it built after this time frame?
Right. Yes. And then based on that, then you can figure out the property type. Based on that, you'd know there are certain things that you absolutely have to look for in certain age homes. And then property type, you might go into that. Or maybe do property type first and then look at the age.